Huh.
That's right, guys. It's time for an ADHD adventure away from knife making and into resin casting. I got interested in resin for making custom handle scales, but since I'm also a huge nerd, I thought I'd practice by making some D&D dice. So to the internet I went and started researching, and through the course of my looking, I found that the best way to get optimal results from your casts was to build a pressure pod. Well, buy a pressure pod, but I'm cheap and I've got a shop, so build it is. I'm basing my design off of a video by Jenner Custom Toys, who I'll link in the description below. He goes a little more in depth into his build process and usage, although I will say his initial estimate of $10 for the build price needs a little adjustment for inflation. And on the subject of explosive inflation, now seems like a good time to remind everyone that while this build is only intended for 20 to 25 psi, you're still dealing with contents under pressure. So I recommend anyone who wants to take this on themselves proceed with caution and adult supervision. Because remember, I may not be a trained professional, but what I do have is a GED, a can-do attitude, and a free weekend to spend in the ER if things go wrong. But that being said, I did include a pressure release valve seen here, not only to reduce my chances of becoming a migraine for an already overworked nurse, but it also gives my build the added utility of being a vacuum chamber. This is really handy for degassing liquid resin before you pour it into a mold, further reducing your chances of any bubbles or flaws. Overall, this was a fun learning process, took me a couple hours to slap together, and cost around $40 to make. Which I'd say puts this well within the home hobbycraft range if there's anyone out there who's interested in dice making or any other resin craft. And with Hope and a honey bun wrapper, I'd say our build is looking pretty good. Or at least pretty good for a first draft. I did run into a small pressure leak issue when it's under pressure, which I think is due to the lid flexing as it pushes up, you can see here. But if you guys like this build and want to see more resin craft on this channel, be sure to let me know in the comments, like and subscribe for version 2.0, or just take this opportunity to yell at me for bad engineering in the comments. You know, whatever your vibe is. But either way, I had a ton of fun making this, and I'd say my first batch of dice came out pretty well. But what do you guys think? Was this a masterclass in working under pressure? Or did I just roll a nat 20 on some bullshit?